Hi everyone, I'm Pat Prokop, my Weather and Nature channel and Weather and Sky. And today we're going to talk more about the nighttime sky throughout the month of January. Also, being January, I'm going to talk a little bit about the winter as well. But let's take a look, first of all, at the southwest evening sky. Have you been noticing that bright star in the southwest? Well, it actually is not a star. It is the planet Venus. And another object just to the upper left of that, a duller yellow, not nearly as bright, but that's not a star either. That's the planet Saturn. Now keep a watch on these two as Venus climbs higher and higher in the evening sky, while Saturn will be sinking lower toward the horizon. Now, on the evenings of January 16th and 17th, they will be side by side in appearance, but Saturn will be nearly a billion miles beyond Venus, but they're going to look really close to each other up in the evening sky, particularly on the nights of January 16th and 17th, or the evening hours anyway. On the other side of the sky dome are Jupiter and Mars. Again, not stars, but very bright objects. Currently, Jupiter is the fourth brightest object up in the sky, only to be outshone by the Sun, Moon, and Venus. Now, just to the left is the planet Mars, shining as a ruddy red object and is currently the fifth brightest object up in the sky. So in order of brightness, you have the Sun, Moon, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars. By the way, these are all brighter than the brightest stars up in the sky. And the brightest star is not the North Star, not Polaris. It is actually Sirius in the constellation Canis Major, or the Greater Dog. In case you're wondering, the North Star, Polaris, ranks 48th in stellar brightness. So Sirius is the brightest star, and then there's a lot of other bright stars nearby. I'm going to talk about those in just a minute. But let's talk a little bit more about Mars, because Mars is going to be dominating the January sky as it becomes closer and closer to the Earth for this orbital period of Mars. Now, the opposition of Mars will be on January 16th, the same night as Saturn and Venus will be appearing side by side in the sky. Anyway, on the other side of the sky, Mars will be 59.7 million miles away. So that's enough about Mars. Let's go to nearby in the constellation Orion. Besides the planet, the winter nighttime sky is full of wonderful constellations, asterisms, and nebulae. Now, the Pleiades, I talked about that in one of my videos earlier, is also known as the Seven Sisters, and it's a beautiful bluish nebula high overhead just before midnight in early January. And nearby is one of everybody's favorite constellation, Orion the Hunter. Now, Orion consists of some of the brightest stars in the winter nighttime sky. The red giant Betelgeuse is the upper left shoulder of the giant, and this star, by the way, is expected to explode as a supernova soon, or, well, sometime in the next 3,000 years, but astronomically that's soon, that's very soon. But when it does, we would be able to see it in the daytime sky for a while. And don't worry, if it does explode soon, its distance of 548 light years is far, far enough away to not endanger us. But it would give us a spectacular view when it does explode. Anyway, part of Orion is the belt, consisting of three bright stars in a line. And these stars carry the name of Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka. Just to the left of Alnitak is an iconic nebula called the Horsehead Nebula, a dust cloud obscuring the red emitted light, which is shaped like that of head of a horse. Next to it is the Flame Nebula, which, looks like a flame of sorts. These two nebulae are about 1,500 light years away. What is a light year? A light year is the distance that light traveling at 186,000 miles per second takes to travel over the course of 1 year, several trillions of miles. All right. The Sword of Orion contains one of the most beautiful nebula of the nighttime sky, the Orion Nebula. This is an area of new star birth, and it's about 1,344 light years away. It is a beautiful object viewing through binoculars or a small telescope. Nearby to Orion is the Unicorn. also known as Monoceros. Monoceros contains many clusters and nebulae, and most notable among them are several. The Rosette Nebula, one of my favorites. The Rosette Nebula is somewhat bright in a telescope, and it does look, well, it looks like a rose. It is about 4,900 light years away, so much further away than the Orion Nebula. And within it, its core is a cluster of stars, and these are all new star births ongoing in the Rosette Nebula. To the upper left is the Christmas tree cluster, named for its resemblance to that of a Christmas tree. And it is somewhat bright looking through a telescope, and it is about 2,400 light years from Earth. Within it is the Cone Nebula, and is quite notable in this image as a dark conic structure. Now, just to the lower right of that, what looks somewhat like a comet is actually another nebula. It's called Hubble's Variable Nebula. It is a nebula of about, again, 2,500 light years from Earth, and it's named after Edwin Hubble. Now, this nebula and its illuminating star are very early stage planetary systems in development. Besides the nighttime sky, a notable astronomical event will occur on January 4th. The Earth will be at perihelion with the Sun, our closest distance to the Sun for the year, at a distance of 91.4 million miles, as compared to a half year later in early July when we're at aphelion at a distance of 94.5 million miles. Now, the average Sun-Earth distance is just shy of 93 million miles. Now, even though we are closer to the Sun right now, we are in winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. That's because the rays of the Sun are glancing the Northern Hemisphere while the Southern Hemisphere is in their summer seasons as of this time. So here we are in the winter season. Temperatures are fluctuating, and they're going to continue to fluctuate. We're going to see highs in the 70s coming up, but then it's going to start dropping. Let's take a look at my 6-week weather outlook, and it's calling for conditions to be quite different over the next several weeks. Looking at the conditions for the end of the year, the last few days of December, the first couple of days of January, we're going to be above normal. We're going to see temperatures in the 70s. Now, normal high for this time of the year is about 61, 62 degrees. 40, 41 for the low is normal for this time of the year, or the average. Some people call it the average temperature. Now, coming up in week 2, the first full week in January, we're going to be dropping to below normal. So we're probably going to be seeing highs in the 50s and lows in the upper 20s to lower 30s. But then the next week, the week 3, January 10th through the 16th, looks like we're going to get way below normal. So we're going to probably have our coldest days of the winter coming up around January 10th through the 16th. Most likely could see temperatures dropping down into the lower 20s, maybe even some upper teens across the interior portions of Georgia and South Carolina. Daytime highs in some days might only make it into the 40s, so it's going to be a cold week. But then we're going to start moderating once again, and by the middle of the month of January, we're going to be back to around normal. Normal high is 61 then, normal low is 40, and then going into week 5, the end of January, slightly above normal as temperatures would be warming back into the 60s, maybe flirting with 70 degrees, and same thing for the first full week in February. Slightly above normal. Normal high is 63 by then, and normal low is 41. And of course, another notable event, one of my favorite days of the year, is coming up in February. That's February 2nd. That's a cross-quarter day, as we call it. That is Groundhog Day. That is the day between the first day of winter and the first day of spring. Of course, we're going to celebrate it as Groundhog Day. So with that being said, thanks to all those who have been supporting my channel. I thank you very much. You can join my channel if you would like to help support this channel, or you could send me a super thanks. Appreciate it, everything that goes along with this. Anyway, I have more astronomy and images coming up on my other channel, my astronomy channel, and you can see that over there. So thanks again for watching, and stay warm. Well, next week you won't have to stay warm. It'll be warm, but then it's going to cool down once again. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.